Hi, this is Daniel Zeri here with Christopher Castellano, the VP of Sales and Marketing from Camrost Real Estate. We're here today to talk about the next phase, phase 4 of the Exchange District, Exchange Signature residences. Could you give us a brief overview of the project and what's to come?
Sure. So first of all, Dan, this is a project that you and I have been working on since day one. I think your dad Akbar and you were probably the first people I met at that little pizza event we had where all of you came in and were demanding to know when we were going to knock down the building your brokerage was in.
Well, you were in the building, so when we found out that you guys were demolishing it, we had to.
And I remember saying, don't worry, it'll be fine. You're going to sell some units and you're going to like it. Yeah. And now here we are, I think 4 years later.
Yeah.
You personally have a unit.
Yeah.
A ton of your clients have purchased in it, some close clients of yours as well. So it's been an incredible journey. So thank you to Akbar as well, who's unable to join us today, for all your support throughout these projects. And we're super excited to be sitting here and talking about our final chapter in Exchange District,
We are
EXS.
as well. We can't wait. So in terms of Exchange District, the great success from EX1, EX2, EX3, and how fast they've sold out, what can we see with EXS? In terms of the difference, is it bringing something different compared to the other 3 buildings?
Sure. Yeah, very good question. So, with Exchange District in general, we brought a very unique concept to downtown Mississauga, right? You had been working in this area for so long. You've seen all the other projects go up. We truly brought or started out with trying to bring an international, urban, award-winning community to the downtown core, and we've succeeded in doing that. Now we're, taking the best aspects of all of the buildings and putting it into EXS, which is a boutique building that we're going to be launching very shortly after this video is being filmed. And what we're seeking to do with EXS is to really create an offering that's a level above the Exchange District.
Right.
So from the finishes to the appliances we're using, to the brands we're partnering with, to the service level that's going to go in, to the boutique hotel that's going to live in the base of this building, to all the restaurants, Biblos, Zaza, Edo, etc., that's coming into the district, EXS, this final chapter, is really going to be, the feather in the cap of Exchange District.
Well, we can't wait for that. I'm super excited for it. Now, we touched on the building just a bit. How many stories is the building going to be in? How many units are going to be?
Right. So because you've sold out the majority of our buildings that we've had previously, we've had 60 stories, 66 stories, 40 stories. EXS is a boutique building.
Right.
I say boutique building in that it's 30 stories. So it is going to be a very limited number of suites compared to the other ones where we came out with 660 units, 540 units, 400 something units.
And sold them out in record time. So this one is even more limited. So I think for yourself as well as for your clients, it's important to have them lined up right at the start and good to go, because otherwise this last chance to be in Exchange District is just going to run by them. So, when we came out with Exchange District EX1, our line was be ready, be first. Right.
And I think that very much stays true with this final building because of the limited amount of suites we have.
Right, and the limited amount of availability in Mississauga in terms of, and Mississauga is growing rapidly, right?
Exactly.
And I believe that's the reason why Camrost decided to purchase the Exchange District Center in terms of the location. Could you tell us a little bit about why you purchased that location?
For sure. So, Camrost has been a developer in the GTA for over 45 years.
Right.
And we have lots of relationships with institutions, landowners, all that kind of stuff. So when David Feldman was presented with the opportunity of buying 151 City Center, which was at the time an office building, he saw it for the world-class destination, the world-class residential destination that it could become. So, we bought it back, I believe we secured it back in 2016. It was in development for years to ensure that the product we were producing was the best it could be. And then finally we came out with it. And when we did, it really acted as a catalyst for the rest of Mississauga to, evolve the downtown core into what we're seeing it is today. And it's incredible and very rewarding for all of us at Camrost to see the downtown core turning into what it is becoming, because it's really the evolution into that, the downtown 2020 vision that the city had, that the mayor's office had, and that city councilors had. So it's so rewarding for Camrost to have been a part of this.
That's another thing that I was going to touch on, and you're kind of leading me into perfectly. In terms of, as we all know, prices have doubled almost in the last 2 years, 2.5 years. I believe that Exchange District has definitely had something to do with that in the Mississauga pre-construction game. Do you mind touching on that?
Sure, by all means. I mean, listen, when we first launched Exchange District, and you and I had this conversation, there was quite a large gap between what Toronto condominiums were selling for and what downtown Mississauga condominiums were selling for, right? That gap was probably around 10-15% in price. Now you fast forward to 2021, Treb's Q4 results came out, and you can see that the gap is now, especially on one bedrooms, the gap is now down to 1.8%. So there has been a very quick acceleration in the downtown core of Mississauga condominium price appreciation, because you're finally seeing people realize that, realize what this downtown core represents and what it is going to become in the future. When you look at the raw metrics of access to employment, access to municipal amenities, access to retail amenities, downtown Mississauga and Toronto are extraordinarily comparable. When you look at Mississauga as an employment hub, you know better than anyone the massive amounts of employment that is here. There's over 40,000 companies, all the boilerplate stuff. Over 70 Fortune 500 companies have their head office in Mississauga. You've got the highest number of Japanese head offices outside of Japan. Forecasts call for an extra 500,000 new jobs coming in the next decade. You've got Sheridan College right across the street from us. You've got University of Toronto's Mississauga campus a short commute away. You've got Square One Mall, massive employment hub. You've got Pearson Airport, another massive employment hub. So when you look at all the metrics, it makes sense. The catch-up that the downtown Mississauga core has had in the past couple of years, and that we're expecting for it to continue to have into the future as it equalizes with Toronto. Because no more is it just a suburb of Toronto, Mississauga. It is truly a city unto itself.
Yeah, and that's what we've always talked about in the sense of Mississauga growing into a city of its own, right?
Yes.
And touching on the amount of jobs and everything that's in the area and amenities, and it sounds pretty good for investors.
Yes, it's definitely good for investors. I think for your investors, best, there's a couple of things they look for. One is location. One is access to, specifically for investors, to a tenant pool. And then lastly, the reputation of the developer, right? So in terms of location, it doesn't get better than this. You're in the prime center ice of downtown Mississauga. You're in the most boutique building in the Exchange District. You've got the high level of finishes, the high service level of service. So check on the location box. With regards to the strong tenant pool, everything we just discussed in terms of job center, student center, etc., huge check mark there. Lastly, a little self-promotion for Camrost. We've been around for 45 years, delivered over 80 buildings, over 20,000 residences. In the past 18 months alone, we've registered 3 buildings. In the next 12 months, we're going to register an additional 3.
Wow.
So we know what we're doing. This isn't our first rodeo. We've cut our chops in master plan communities with Mystic Point out in Park Lawn and Lakeshore, with Imperial Village on the St. Clair revitalization we did, with Upper East Village, our master plan community in Leaside, the revitalization of the old Four Seasons with our master plan community out in Yorkville, and finally with our development here in Mississauga. So Camrost knows how to put together, international award-winning projects, and that's what we did with Exchange District, and that's what investors seek out. So in terms of what investors are looking for at the end of the day, this is a great location with a strong tenant pool, and it's going to be a magnificent building built by a very dependable and reputable developer. Right. So really checks all the boxes that purchasers and investors would be looking for.
It really does. Well, I appreciate your time and thank you for having me today.
Always a pleasure.
We're looking forward to the launch date, and in order to get first day access and best pricing, give me a call. 416-276-0052. Daniel's there with Kingsway Real Estate, and Chris, honestly, I appreciate having us here.
Anytime, Jack.
Thank you.
We'll talk soon.